Introduce our presenter for today. His name is Bill Ballou, and I think we're in for a real treat today. Um, First of all, he's had several careers, all of which will be helping us today. He was a communications and intelligence officer in the U.S. Navy. He was, as he calls it, a tent-making missionary in Japan for nearly 20 years. And if you're not familiar with the reference, the Apostle Paul was a tent maker
Right.
as he supported himself in his missionary journeys. And so I clarified that Bill is not saying that he literally made tents, but he supported himself in this missionary work. And so that was nearly 20 years. And then he became a professional blogger, and he now teaches and writes content marketing all over the world. He has had more than 150 million views from his blogging.
Wow.
He knows stuff we don't know. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So we're very happy to have, oh, by the way, he writes currently in collaboration with his 12-year-old daughter, Mia. And we may even have the opportunity to see her drop in to our conversation today. So this is going to be a very special day. I hope you're ready to take some notes because he's going to tell us some things we need to know. Okay, so without anything further, Bill, are you there?
I am here.
Okay.
Mike is going to give me hosting.
Yeah, I'm going to do that, but before I do, let me ask, will everyone please mute yourself so that Bill can talk to us?
You mean everybody else, doofus?
We'll all mute ourselves and let Bill speak uninterrupted.
Okay, there we go. So now I'm waiting for you, Mike, to be able to share my screen.
Actually,
Mike,
you can.
I'm not able to hear you.
Okay, you should be able to share your screen. At the bottom, you should see a screen share, the green button.
I do. I see that. And when I press it, I get host disabled participant screen sharing.
Try
You'll
it
have
again.
to make me host.
I did. Try it one more time.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
So are you all able to see this? So before I go into the share mode, I'm going to invite my daughter. So the reason she came today is so that we could bring the average age of the group down. So just by her being here, the average age of our group is going to be like 2 years younger, I think. So that's why she's here. She will not take up a lot of time, but it's only because that she and I co-write that I am now at the point where I'm able to share with you what we're going to do. So Mia,
I think let me just say, I think we're very happy to have her here. So she's absolutely welcome.
So Mia, be sure to unmute yourself, and then she'll take maybe a minute or two, and then we'll get right into the presentation. Here she comes.
Hi, I'm Mia. I'm the kid. I'm the kid who's bringing down the age today. I don't know anything about marketing. He's doing all that talking. So I'm just here to basically tell you about our books and why we write them. Basically, I told the story a lot of times, you can probably tell by now. But how the story goes is, I really enjoyed reading as a child, and I still do enjoy reading. But I had read everything that was like appropriate for my age, and I had nothing else to read. So we're like, how about we create our own story? And that's what we did. So now we're here writing stories about people my age, and so I don't have to read stuff that's like not good for me, and I don't have to read stuff that's too mature. And yeah, that's how we do it. We write sushi. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Okay, so that's my co-author in crime here. All right, so I'll double check. Mike, are you able to see my how to find and engage with readers for your books?
Okay.
So I'm want to confirm. So is everyone able to see the screen?
Kind of. Oh, there we are.
Okay, you should be able to. Gosh.
There.
All right, I'm going to begin. If you have questions, I'll take those questions at the end. So I want to talk about how to find and engage with readers for your books. Now I'm operating under the premise that writers, that's us, want readers. That's simple. I've learned that publishing and creating and putting books in or putting our words in readable format is the easy part. Of course, writing is hard. Writing well is really hard. Putting our stuff in readable format is much easier than it used to be. But where things really get difficult is finding readers and getting those readers to read our stuff. So promise, I will show you today, I will explain to you today in detail how to get eyeballs on your books. I'll give you 2 practical steps to build a subscriber base. What I mean by subscriber base is readers, people who have signed up to read what you have written, people who have given you their email address so that when you publish something, when you create something, they say, hey, I would like to know about that. Will you please tell me? I do think, and we have, the data is there, that when people opt in, that is when they said, hey, me, here's my email, please tell me. When these steps are taken, we have people who are genuinely interested in what we write. They are interested to read our content. So how do we get those people? Where are those fictitious, or in this case, non-fictitious people? How do we get them to sign up for us? And then the second promise, or the second step, is how do we engage with those readers? So a reader has signed up. They want to know about you. They want to know about your brand. They want to know about your books. More about you. It was quite an insight to me. I thought, people, they just want my book. They don't care about me. Well, see, that's not true. So a rhetorical question of sorts is, how many times have you looked up more about an author of a book or book series or books that you're reading? We all do that. Well, who wrote this book? Let's go check them out. Well, when a reader, a potential reader, an interested reader signs up to receive your newsletter, they are also signing up to know you. So when they want to know you, of course, we want to engage with them. But where are these fictitious and non-fictitious readers? and how often do we talk to them and what do we say? That's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you how to do it for free. Now, disclaimer, free does not mean no good. It's simply not true. What I will show you how to do today is free, but it's also good because it involves you, who is a real person, and it involves people who sign up to receive updates about you. And they too are real people. It is no good when we treat people as if they were not real. When we receive an email from a person who has physically typed that in, there is real engagement. It's not the same as sitting in a room together. We wish it were, but it still is real. They are actual people who have actual interest in what we do or what we are saying. So here are the steps. I think I have 5 of them. We want to have an online presence. An online presence begins, and I'll give you 2 choices. You can do both, you can do more, but I'll give you 2 that I think are very important. Number 1 is your website. We talked about website building and blogging and all that sort of thing 10 years ago when I actually visited the high desert and took the drive up into the hills there. So here's our website. Let's see if Google does this thing, you actually get to see it. Work, spin, 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 and there we go. This is our website, Growing Up Amy. It's all about our books. When you log in there, you'll see that, hey, I have something to give you. You need a website. Now, if you don't have a website, you have another choice, and it's still free. You can go to an Amazon and create a profile page. Amazon loves when you do things for them. Why wouldn't they? So it looks something like this. I created an Amazon webpage for my daughter. There she is. You can read more about her. You can read about her books. I could even put up a video, and if you're a blogger, it will update this page so that more people are interested. So from there, people can go, they can see books that you've written. They can also see me, maybe. Well, if we've done this right, it will say, look at this, we are ranked #1 on Amazon in children's money books. We are ranked #2 on Amazon in children's historical action adventure, and so on and so on. And so this gives us a place to go online or for people to come check out to make sure we are real people. So you have a profile page, you have a series page. All of this can be produced for free. Now, a website, you can pay $10 and own that, but you don't have to. I recommend that you do, because it's, you know, how much it can, I mean, $10 a year, how bad, you know, if we can afford that, right? But some people can't. What can I say? So in step #1, let's go online where people can find us and read more about us, know who we are. That's an important step, because when we do step #2, we want to be able to capture legitimately, I will add, we want to be able to legitimately, that is, without being sleazy, without being sly, without being tricky, we want to be able to capture our readers, our potential readers' emails. Now, there is a place you can do that. It's also free for up to 1,000 people. You can go to, I recommend this MailerLite, and because you can collect 1,000 emails before you pay anything. I had my Japanese accountant when I lived in Japan. He told me, 税金払えば払うほどはいいですよって. He said that all the time, 税金払えば払うほどはいいです, which translates it, the more taxes you pay, the better. I'm thinking, what? Well, he's an accountant, so he likes numbers. He wants to pay more. Well, the thing is, he said, when you pay more taxes, that's because you have made more money. Huh. It's kind of like when our tithe grows, it's because we have more of a foundational base to give in our tithe kind of thing. And so if you never pay for an email capturing service, you never have enough emails that amount to anything. But still, 1,000 is a good number. If you have 1,000 people who have signed up, hey, tell me when you do something with your book, that's good. If I email them and 50%, 500 read that email, that's really good. So here's my actual numbers as of yesterday when I took this picture. I have 2 lists, and I created 2 lists for a very specific reason. Growing Up Amy is the master list. We have 2,000 people who have subscribed. It's our fictional series about a little girl growing up and true to life and all what Mia was telling you about. Master Growing Up will be, this is my nonfiction list. Huh, look at that. It works for nonfiction as well as fiction. So I found out not long ago, my goodness, I have PTSD. I wish they had told me 40 years ago, and then I could sit on the curb and beg for money, perhaps. No, I'm kidding. Bad joke, perhaps. But I am writing a nonfiction series too, and I wondered, could I get people interested in something that's memoir-ish, something that is personal? And the answer is, there's the answer, yes. 1,716 people so far, and it's growing daily. But this MailerLite, it looks something like this. Once you get inside, you can see all your subscribers. Now, I don't want to bore you with the details. Perhaps we could do a workshop at some point and go more slowly, but this is the mechanism, and it's free for collecting emails and then dividing them up into groups. People who like nonfiction, people who like my fiction, and that sort of thing. When people sign up, I can actually automatically welcome them and share with them different things. This is important. If I do not have a means for collecting emails, I will not have a means for engaging with my readers. Step number 2 is capturing emails. Step number 3 is to create a reader magnet. Now, a reader magnet is quite simply something that I give away in exchange for an email. Now, it obviously wants to be something that is connected to what I have written, or something that introduces the kind of writer I am, or the kind of writer my daughter and I are. And so I have created these things called reader magnets. I want to give them away, and hopefully people will say, well, that's worth giving you my email for. Now, I hear the voices. What?
Bill, we can't hear you anymore. Your audio is cut out.
Something you written away. What's worse than giving something that you have written away is to say, you can have this for free and nobody wants it. Here's my book. I don't want your book. Hey, I've written this. Here, you can have it. I don't want that. Wouldn't that be worse than actually giving something away? So I have created something that I would give away anyway. This could be something from my blog. It could be something that I have written for something else. And I give you a couple examples. Here is one I wrote, Diary of a Cruise Ship Speaker. So I get invited to travel the world on cruise ships. They buy my airplane tickets. They say, bring your wife. And so I'm able to speak on cruise ships as a guest speaker and travel for free. Well, that's kind of interesting. So I wrote up how to do that. And then that's a nonfiction. So when someone reads this, they will know something about who this person is who writes nonfiction. And then I did the same thing in a fictional. This is a workbook for the first book that my daughter and I wrote. So it's about how to get better relationships. You can read that. So what happens when I create these, I have offered something to readers. Now, the question I hear you asking, where are these people? Where are they? Who's, creating is the somewhat, I have, creating is the easier part. Getting people to put that in their hands and actually read it, and then beyond that, give you money for it. That's where it starts getting hard. So here is, I'm going to click through again. It's called Story Origin App, StoryOriginApp.com. And this is when I created this page at Diary of a Cruise Ship Speaker, I give this to a potential reader. Just bear with me. I will tell you where those potential readers are, I promise. So I would give this to these potential readers, and or this one, for example, they say, well, look at this. I want better relationships. I'm going to grab this story. Or I'm going to grab this story. And there it goes. They download, they put your email and so on, and so off you go. It works, and it's free. It's just a matter of creating something that's worthy of a person's email and that introduces you. Does that make sense? So reader magnets is step number 3. Story Origin app is the free mechanism for giving it away. When someone follows the download links and gets their emails, those emails will come to my email capture, MailerLite. And it's all free and it works. Now, here's the real question, I suppose, is where do I find those people that I want to give, who want my books? I need friends. Now, this is the hardest part for me because I am not a nice person and nobody wants to be my friend. But I am sitting on a Zoom call and there's 20 people who are friends with one another. However, I can also find other friends by creating this giveaway. So I'm going to say, hey, I will give you what I have just created. Now, what I need is to find other people who are just like me, who want to do the same thing. And I found them. Those people can be found on the Story Origin app. There they are. Those people can be found on the Story Origin app. Let's go here. I need to there's me, I'm there. I go to my author dashboard. Look, there's this word, promotions. I go to promotions created, promotions joined, find group promotions. Look at this. Here are name after name after name after people who are giving away something, who have Kindle Unlimited. Lark Anderson, Troy Young, I don't know these people from Adam, but I do know this. They have done the very same thing that I'm explaining to you. They are looking for people who write clean, contemporary, coming of age. They're looking for sci-fi, space opera. If this is your niche, you go here. Say, hey, Troy, let's connect. I do urban fantasy. I do supernatural. Hey, Madeline, let's get together. I am able to connect with other people who are doing the very same thing that I want to do. So when I have something to give away, there's all the people who give away, there's all the people who are doing fantasy. I am able to apply and connect with all the people who are doing this very same thing. And look at that. There's 1, 2, 3. How many people are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20. So there are 20 people who say, hey, I have these books to give away. I will tell everybody on my list about your book. if you tell everybody on your list about my book. Now, we don't want to talk about romance and, man chests and all that sort of thing, or maybe you do, but I don't think so. You can filter out who you want to share. When I give something away to my list, they will give something away to their list. And when we do that, magic happens. Magic happens. I can go to my dashboard and I can show you in the last month, this is how many people have collected my books. Look at that. 70 people collected this one, 68 collected this one. And this is in the very last day. 458, and the cruise ship, there it is, 54 people have collected that. And on we go. So far, since March of this year, 3,200 people have collected something that I want to give away. And that's are all new email addresses. When I create something that I give away, I go to Story Origin app and find other people who write in the same genre that I do, who have something to give away, and we share our gifts with each other. And when we share those gifts with each other, I'm telling you, it works. And those are the real numbers. That's step number 4. So backing up, I got online presence. People know who I am. I have an email capturing apparatus. That's MailerLite. I've got reader magnets, something that I can give away that I don't mind, that introduces me and my writing. And then I have friends that I can hang out with who write in the same genre that I do, and we share our gifts with each other. Number 5, the last step is to engage. Now that I have 3,200 people or 5,000 people or 300 people, it doesn't matter. Now I want to engage with them. These are people who said, hey, tell me more. So the question is, well, what do I tell them? And how often do I tell them? Well, I have the answers to those very questions. So how often do I tell them? 40, so there's this very generous person who has a very large list of readers, very faithful readers, and she emailed them. 1,100 of those people responded to her questions. And of those 1,100 people, 44%, 500 of them said, I would like to get email from you at least once a month. More than 1/4 of them said, I'd like to get an email from you every other week. Do you see what's happening here? People signed up for your information about you, and now they say, tell me more. And then 12% of them said, I'd like to hear from you weekly. Isn't that interesting? Now, what do I tell them? Okay, well, I can answer that question. What do I say? Number 1, they want to know, when is your next book coming? Okay, well, so Mia and I are working on book number 4. I can send them updates. I can say, this is what chapter we're on, and this is our progress we're making, and this is when the book's going to be due. They want to have updates. Tell me more about your characters. Tell me more about your ideas. They want to know, is this book going to be on sale? Imagine that. Someone has signed up to ask you, would you please tell me when your book is going to be for sale? People like personal information. They want to hear stories from your life. One of our most popular emails is when I introduced our dog, Sushi. Well, I have a dog, we have a dog, and next thing I know, people are sending me pictures of theirs. And I have real people listening to my real stories and telling me real things about them. Isn't that interesting? People want to know about giveaways. Do you have something else to give away? Now, there's a lot of selfish people who are very give and take people. I give them, they take it. Oh, well, those people eventually disappear or not. I have people who are actively participating in what it is I'm sharing them. Isn't that what I want? And then I have people who would like excerpts. I sent out an email just yesterday, and I did a chapter review. It's like one of the chapters in this upcoming book I wrote about pre-PTSD, post-PTSD kind of a thing. So I wrote grabbed a chapter, and I sent it to 1,700 people. As of this morning, more than 400 opened that up to read that chapter. Isn't that what I want? Well, of course that's what I want. But what if they read my chapter and they don't like it? I want to know that too, right? So this is what I can actually give to people who have voluntarily signed up to hear from me. And then, of course, they want to know, what other authors do you know? And can you share some other stories with me? So there are 7 things that I could write about once a week or every other week. And I could do this once a week, and I wouldn't repeat that for 2 months, and then I could do it again. I want to engage with people who have voluntarily said, please tell me more. That's step number 5. Big number. 83% of readers buy new releases. Here's a new book. It's a full price book from email. 83% of the people who read your email will buy a full priced book or a new release, if that's what they want, of course. 84% want to hear from authors. Imagine that 84% of the people who read your book or who expressed interest in your books want to hear from you at least monthly, if not more often. That's a big number. And then finally, 88%, that's almost 9 out of 10 people will buy discount books. Well, isn't that what we want? We want real people to read our books. We want to engage with those real people, don't we? And gosh, maybe they'll buy our book if they like it. That's what we want. The steps are free and they work, but it's still work. Now, okay, I think everybody just signed off. If that's too much work, it is work. You know, I spend all morning writing. Mia does the proofreading and the feedbacking and the form, making the suggestions. Then I spend afternoon creating something I can give away, interacting with other people who have their list. It's still work, but by golly, it's fun. It's fun for me to write this newsletter. I schedule it and then I go to bed. It goes out on Friday morning at 6:15 and I wake up and look at it and 200 people have read it. By noontime, 300 people have read it. By the next morning, 400 people have read it. If my pattern holds still, sometime between now and next Thursday, just 7 days after I hit the send button on 1,700 people, about 700 people
Bill, we lost your audio again.
Who said it? I'm a little pencil in the hand of a writing God, sending a love letter to the world. We are pencils. We, the High Desert Writers Clubs, Mia and I here in Sunnyvale, California, we are pencils in the hand of writing God. We're sending love letters. Every keystroke is part of a love letter that we are sending to the world. We express our love in different ways, but we are sending that to the world. Our job, among other things, is to engage with this world. And this is how you do it. It works. You can engage with, for this is, of course, said by Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, isn't that sweet? Thanks. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Maybe we want to do a workshop at some point, because that's a lot of information. There's a lot of steps. And so I want to open up the floor to questions now. What do you say?
Bill, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can.
Oh, okay. I just want a clarification. Is this sequence of steps part of the Amazon author profile that you get, or is this an independent program?
It's independent.
It's
So
independent. Okay.
the Amazon is just another way for us to make ourselves visible
Okay.
to potential readers. So a reader is going to say, are these people real? Are we scammers? Are we just collecting emails so we can,
Okay.
peddle stuff to them? But Amazon is very generous. Of course, the more information Amazon has, the better for Amazon.
Sure. Sure. So what
Right.
is what are some of these independent programs that we might acquire in order to do this?
I'm sorry, to gather
Well,
emails.
you got 6 steps, and what software programs do we need to be able to do that?
Okay, so that's I can reshare this, but the first one is MailerLite. MailerLite, that was
MailerLite.
slide number 5. It's
Oh.
MailerLite, MailerLite.com. That is the mechanism I use. You can start for free. You can gather up to 1,000 people before
Okay.
you have to pay. The best thing you can do is pay, because then you have more than 1,000 people to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So MailerLite is the mechanism for collecting the emails and publishing your newsletter. It's
Okay.
very powerful. It's the biggest drawback to MailerLite is there are a lot of buttons. And so when there's a lot of options, we now what do I do? Now what do I do? But it's clean, and it will deliver very faithfully. Not all email services deliver faithfully. MailChimp, for example, Aweber, and some of those, they have a bad reputation. And so when you email somebody who says, I want to hear from you, it doesn't actually get delivered. And so we want to get beyond that. And one of those critical steps for getting delivered is for people to be able to know you're a real person. And that's where the website and the Amazon profile page comes in. Hey, look, I am a real person.
Okay.
And
All right.
then the second one is the Story Origin app. That was slide number 6. A Story Origin app. That's the mechanism for creating reader magnets and being able to deliver them and collect emails. And again, it's not hard, but it's not easy. There are a lot of moving pieces.
Okay.
But you guys have Mike Apodaca. He can read and he can figure things out. And I'm sorry, Mike, I'm just picking on you. I don't even know you.
He's worthy of being picked on. It's okay.
That's all right. I'm getting used to it.
Wow.
But Bill, you did a really great job for us. You covered a lot of material in a very short time.
I'm sorry?
You covered a lot of material in a very short time. You did an excellent job.
Well, I wanted to keep my promise, but it simply does work. If you want readers, I mean, real people, not, we don't want to pass out postcards in front of Home Depot for, a $10 gift card for emails. That won't do me any good. These are people who have legitimately opted in to receive something you wrote in exchange for an email and an invitation for you to engage with them. Now, to be sure, people drop off all the time. Okay, goodbye. Because they're not interested, it wasn't a match, and I got my feelings hurt, but I'm a big boy, I'll survive. Yes, sir.
So one other question. Now, when you go to these services, let's say I go to MailerLite, does that give me something to put on my website? I have a website with GoDaddy. Will that appear on my website then for them to put their email address there on my website?
Yes, yes, they will do that. It's called a landing page.
A
You
landing
can create
page?
landing pages, and they also have pop-ups. Now, do you have a highly traffic? I mean, do you have a lot of people who come to your website?
I wish.
Well, see, the reason I ask you that, now I'm not trying to be critical,
No, it's okay.
is
It's okay.
if the numbers aren't in the hundreds per day, it's mostly not worth it. It's just it becomes a clutter factor. What's a better strategy is to create this reader magnet on Story Origin and share that page with the other giveaway groups, because then they can opt in directly. You do not want them to say, now you're here, now come here, now do this. The fewer the steps, the more likely the conversion. Now, my daughter and our site, we probably get 200 visitors a day. But even then, having one person convert is very difficult. You know, people it's hard to get. It's not impossible, but the numbers, you need very large numbers for people to happen to your site and then share. That's why actively engaging with other people, just like Mike, just like Dwight, just like Jenny, just like Rita, other people in the same genre doing the same thing, gets the best results.
Bill, I have a question.
Yes, sir, Bob.
How long is your newsletter? Is it like one page, or how much do you invest in I mean, just how big is it?
Sure. The answer to that question is, if there were one right way to do things, everybody would do it the same way. So that being said, if I'm writing an email once a month, it's going to be more robust than if I write an email twice a month. It's going to be less robust if I write an email once a week. So the name of that game is, do I have something worth saying? Some people just send emails because it's time to send an email. Here's an interesting statistic that'll make you cringe. Something like 40% of all readers have emails from more than 16 authors. So 16 authors. So wow, that's twice a month. Every day I'm getting an email from a different author. And so what we want to do is establish our newsletter is worth reading. Now, MailerLite will help you. I could help you with that. So you have a good opening line, the good title. My last newsletter was, "How did you get your name? Let me tell you how I got mine." Wow, I got a really good open rates with that one. I did another one. Have you ever gotten in trouble for not listening? Nobody cared. So I test different, I can test different titles, but you cannot test your titles if you don't have readers. I asked 10 people, do you like this title? That's not enough. I asked 1,000 people. Now I have real numbers. So I'm going to go with a 2 to 3 minute read. 2 to 3 minutes. If it takes me longer than 2 or 3 minutes to read something, I'm not going to do it.
Okay, thank you very much. And my other question would be, I could see some merit in having our branch of CWC do this as a unit.
Absolutely.
Do you think that there would be a possibility that we could establish like the whole thing, but do it as a club rather than individuals, and we get somebody publishing a book, at least somebody out of our club publishes a book once a month out of the whole year, and we could promote those books that way. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, the goal is you, Bob, already have friends. I have to go online and make friends because I'm a grumpy old man. But what you could do as a group is High Desert. And now suppose High Desert, each of you were to build a list, or if High Desert just built its own list as a group. The problem with one writers club creating one group is the variety of genres. Now, if the genres are all different, you cannot send the same books to everybody. But suppose everybody on this Zoom call, there are 20 people here. So suppose everybody on this group only had 1,000. Well, now we have 20,000 people that we could reach out to. Each time Mike or Jenny or Rita or someone wrote something, or Anne wrote something that was worth sharing, you could share that with 20,000 people instead of 1,000 people. Now suppose all 22 California Writers Clubs each had 20,000. High Desert is probably one of the smaller groups, I don't know. But if this goes small and 20,000 times 22, now we have 440,000 people that we can share our stories with. And they're real people who said, please tell me more. It's incredibly powerful, but it's very, and this is what is good about us being in our stage of life. We understand that we reap what we sow. You know, we get out of what we put into it. If we spend the time to build the list with faithful work of real people engaging, when each of us engages, we see that result. You know, it's a very biblical proposition. When I spoke to you about blogging, when I'm talking to you about newsletter building, Dwight, these are lessons I learned when I was a tent making missionary. I never was able to stand on the corner and shout to the Japanese, come to Jesus. It simply did not work. But if I built a relationship with him, if I went rock climbing with him, if I went to the beach with him, if we went snow skiing together, if I taught them English together, if I built that relationship with, then I saw people go in and out of the baptistry. There's no magic bullet here.
Very good.
You should ask me something hard. Is there an easy way to do this? No, it's not hard, but you know we have learned diligence. At our age, we have learned diligence. We have learned that if I, you know, to step by step, we learned how to do things. And so why don't we use this strength that has come with our age? Why don't we use the time that we have to build this step by step? Because if we want readers, I'm telling you, it works.
Now, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your schedule or routine on keeping up with all this correspondence? I mean, like certain time of day, or, I mean, you have to be checking.
Yes.
You have to check.
So as you know, I write my newsletters on Monday, and then I sit on them till Thursday, and I go back and recheck them to make sure all the links work, and then I schedule on Friday. Every other Friday, I email to the fiction group. That's the list that my daughter and I share. Every other Friday, I email to the fiction group, and then the opposite Fridays, I email to my nonfiction group. And so I'm sending out something once a week. You don't have to do that. If you send something once a month and somebody misses a month, it's 2 months before they hear from you. Right? So it's a personal thing.
Okay, Bill, I have another question on it. You mentioned a workshop. What time frame are you proposing to do a workshop? Like a 2-3 hour workshop or whatever? And what do you show at a workshop like that?
Well, Bob, you've used your quota of questions. I'm not answering that.
Okay.
The answer is I don't know. I just, you know, I came there to High Desert. Remember the first time we did a workshop on blogging. I presented them how to build blogs and websites and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So my proposal is that our beloved governor throw away his key after he unlocks us in place. And then I'll come down there and see you guys. We'll sit in a room and we'll do it until we figure it out.
That we would love. That would be great.
I'm thinking, you know, come January, we're going to be more mobile in January, is what I'm thinking. I don't know. What do I know? I'm an idiot too. But you know, to try to do this online, it would be quite a slog. It's not impossible. We could do that. And I don't have a plan. I'm speaking to the San Francisco California Writers Club in January. The writers of Kern in Los Angeles, they just reached out and said, hey, tell us. So, okay, I'm going to, you know, we're going to have some fun here. And I'd love to have 20,000 newsletters, subscribers for each of 20 groups. Wouldn't that be incredible? And what that would do for the California Writers Club, what that would do for each individual club. I will say that we started in March, right about the pandemic. No connection, really. We were just writing and in March, okay, let's do this. And then the pandemic thing, oh, okay, well, I've got to stay home anyway. I was going to do it, now I have to do it. It's more fun to voluntarily stay home than to be made to stay home. But we started in March. We had 20 friends and family. That was it, 20 friends and family. And now we're over 3,500 subscribers.
Wow.
And I probably lost more than 1,000 of them because they subscribed and left. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we've grown more than that. But so if somebody doesn't read your newsletter, you know, if you send them a newsletter for 3 months and they don't read it, delete them because they weren't going to read anything anyway. You know, I'd rather have 1,000 people who open my email than to have 10,000 people and only 1,000 open it up. So the answer to your question, Bob, is whatever makes sense. But I would hope that, you know, we're gonna come out of this here eventually, and maybe I'll make a trip to High Desert and we'll iron this all out all in one big step.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Or I could send you guys homework. You know, let's start writing reader magnets. Let's start creating those now, and we can start sharing them in advance. You know, there's things we could do and start early. I haven't thought it through, to be honest. I'm just, what do I know? More questions? No matter what the question is, the answer is going to be, it still work. Rita, I have a question for you.
Okay, I'm here.
Would you like to have more people read your books?
Yes, I just have one book. So I'm a half author.
Well, that's okay. We'll call you a writer.
But yeah,
You wrote something and that's what you...
all authors want people to read their books. Right?
Well, since March, my daughter and our books, our series of books since March have been downloaded on Amazon 5,500 times.
So you just start doing this in March, all of it? Oh, he's all.
Well, we had written the books in advance. I mean, we're writing the books as we go.
Right.
But the general wisdom for selling books is to don't sell a book, you sell a series. You write 3 books, you give away the first book, and hopefully they'll read the second book. What happens if I gave all my first books away and nobody read my second book?
Are you asking me a question? If you gave away your first book and nobody read your second book.
If I gave away my first book and everybody read that and nobody bought the second book, what does that mean? That means my book's no good.
That means they should give you another chance.
Well, see, that's asking a lot, but you're right. So, but you get the idea. Right?
Yes.
What happens if I give my book away and nobody wants it? That's really, but but it's meaningful. I want to know if nobody wants my book. Maybe my cover's ugly. Maybe it's not appealing from the get-go. Maybe they did read the book and you're pretty lousy. You need a better editor. You need a better story editor or something, but I cannot get that feedback if I don't put my book in someone's hands.
Mhm.
I need that. Most of us say we want feedback, but that's not true. Most of us just want people to say nice things to us. And that's not what we want. We want real feedback so I can improve and do better. If I have my way, I'm going to do this for 7 years. And in 7 years, 5 years from now, I'm going to give this newsletter list to my daughter. She'll go off to college and she'll have 20,000 people that she can engage with and continue to build her books or she'll throw it away. And then I wonder, what did I do for 10 years?
Okay, Bill, I'm going to violate my limit on questions here and just ask you.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah, I know. Okay, here it is. Suppose we, as a branch, decided we wanted to do this and we want to start it today. Walk us through the steps, would you please? How would we do that? We're going to promote a book a month, a different book of a different author every month, and see how far we can go. What would we do to implement that?
All right, so the first thing I would do is I would delay that first book for 6 months because we have nobody to tell yet.
Okay.
So what I would do, the very first thing I would do is I'd have everybody on this list everybody on this Zoom call who's interested say, let's start building an email list. So let's say there's going to be 5 of you, 8 of you. Within 6 months, 8 people will have about 10,000 emails on their list. So I would start building that first. That'd be the very first thing I do. In order to do that, we need reader magnets. Give me something that you don't mind giving away. Now, let me show you how to give that away and who to give that away with. Not to, who to give that away with. When we start giving that away, we'll start growing your email lists. 6 months from now, you have 10,000 people that you can give your anthology to. Or you can try to sell that anthology to 10,000 people for $10 each, whatever the price point makes sense.
Okay.
So
Good.
first step would be say, who's got a website? That would be first step. Second step, who has Amazon profile? Third step, let's each of us go to MailerLite, create an account individually. Fourth step, let's each write something 4, 5, 6,000 words that we would gladly give away to introduce our style of writing, to introduce who we are. And let's create that reader magnet page. Next step, let's find other authors on that Story Origin app that we can share together with. Start growing our lists. Before long, High Desert will have its own group of people. You can just share among yourselves, but I encourage you to share with other people outside of the group. That anthology. So Dwight, how many people are in the anthology? 20 people?
We have about 26, and
That's
So
26.
26.
7 of those.
So I would give one of those away and invite other people and invite people to read the other 25. Or pay $9, pay $5, pay whatever. So here's the free one. And now I invite you to buy the other 25. If they don't want the free one, or if the free one's not good enough to entice them to look at the others, that's very telling.
So you would have them download that on a PDF or something?
Yeah, no, you don't. You would download that through Story Origin app.
Uh-huh.
Because Story Origin app will collect their email and integrate it with MailerLite. So now you have their email and you have a means to connect with them. Do you think it would be beneficial for High Desert to have a honest working email list of 10,000 real readers by June of next year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we have enough authors that would like to promote them in a meaningful way, you know, that, and I think we could even coordinate with other branches, you know, and maybe get a representation of even different genres for each one. So
Well, I am only one person, and I've grown by 3,500 in 6 months. So if each person, you know, everybody has a different standard. Not everybody can, you know, do the same things, but you know, we just do what we can. That's all. You know, another Mother Teresa quote. She said, Mother Teresa, you cannot save everybody. She said, I don't need to save everybody. I just need to save those I can. And so if everybody just did what they can, it's enough. It's when somebody does everything and other people do nothing, that's where it breaks down. You know, the Pareto principle, 20-80 rule.
The people that you keep in touch with, you know where they're from? Like, are they all over the world? Are they all over the States? I mean, how much do you
All
know
over the
about
world.
that? All over the
See,
world?
Story Origin has more than 10,000 members. And so there's a whole lot of stuff on there, Rita. I don't know about you, but I would not show my mother because it's, you know, there's a lot of romance. There's a lot of heavy romance. And I dare to say that 80% of it's romance, which I don't want any part of because I don't have a 6-pack, so I don't want to sell books that have 6-packs on it. I don't want to do that. And that's okay. So we work with who we work with. We don't have to, if you don't like them, then say no. I have people volunteer to join my promo. I organize them. Bob, I'll do the legwork. I will organize the promo and you guys can invite you in so we can share. I will do that hard legwork. Because if you're sharing your stuff, then you're sharing mine. See, it's good all around. It's a very win-win kind of a situation. I created a group. I'll look up. I created on promotions or campaigns, whatever you want. I did a promotion last month. Let me see here. And I'm going to look at it real fast so I can give you a real number. Oops. And I had, there it is. 7,096 people looked at that promotion. 19,936 times someone clicked on a book in that promotion. 19,936 times someone clicked on a book in that promotion, and 8,711 were taken.
Wow.
I mean, those are real numbers. I'm looking at them as I sit here, and that campaign is not. It goes for about 1 month. You know, there's no limit. There's all sorts of minutia that's boring. But suppose 7,000 people looked at the books at High Desert, and 19,936 of them were actually clicked to read, where they read your description, and 8,000 of them were claimed. Would that be worthwhile? I think.
What do you mean 8,000 are claimed? You mean
they push the button, say, I want that book. I want that free.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is pretty fascinating. I'll say that. Yeah, the concept is, you know, using the internet to promote, and Oh, I wanted to ask you, Bill, on the growth of your list, I know you already have social connections on LinkedIn, maybe Facebook, and your blogging history.
Right.
Were a lot of those based on that? Your connections?
None, zero.
Zero?
Zero.
Wow.
These are all brand new people that I've never met before who've, well, I take that there's probably some students that I've met at some point, that sort of thing.
Well, this is a very,
Bob, you know, from the first time I was, Bob, you know from the first time I was there, I have no magic bullet, but I do know that if you work it, it works. And it's a no nonsense. And at this point, it's all free. It's just muscle, mental muscle, fingers to typing. It can all be done where we are. It just needs to be done, and it'll work. I'm sorry, Dwight. You can wrap this up. It's all yours.
yeah, that's quite all right. I was thinking, you know, this is a practical, technical process that I believe works. You've proven it. And, you know, we'll just have to see if we can get involved in this. We could even practice this on each other because, you know, of course, here I am with the technology issues, but I think that would be good to practice a little bit on each other and build it up, you know? It's, what do you think, Mike? You're nodding your head.
Yeah, I really like everything that Bill said. I'm very happy that I have the next week off. It'll give me time to process all of this. It's like I said, it's a lot to chew on. I want to go investigate these websites and see all these buttons that he's talking about and figure out the best way to make it work. But it's excellent information. It's really helpful.